Today I'd like to broach the subject of amnesia, terror, and the fear of terror being the fear of fear. I'll use a personal example because it's probably the best way I can do it from personal experience. I learned everything as experience, so maybe you can through mine. I've already mentioned that before I was 3 years old I had 3 near-death experiences, and I wasn't properly sentient at that point, though. If I was becoming sentient, the sentience was taken away by the trauma of those experiences, such that I couldn't feel fear anymore. I felt anxiety, but I couldn't actually regulate what the feeling was because the fear of fear had entered into amnesic terror, and if my body allowed me to experience those feelings again, my ego was pretty sure I was going to die. So it set up an automatic mechanism of dislocation and dissociation to prevent me from having an in-time memory of an experience that was happening in time again. So often the extents of amnesia are when the organism believes that the situation in front of it is potentially fatal, and so we'll perform homeostasis on itself to isolate the offending item, which is the body, in favour of some sort of logical reasoning to assuage the emotions, which are all-encompassing and all-engulfing and potentially fatal. This is the security system being shut down, and this is the void of experience in any situation that would turn up similar to this experience in existence. It's something that's very hard to detect initially because it is camouflaged in the trauma and in the organism's desire to remain alive rather than process what was basically its potential ending. So it's very paradoxical, and one system is basically set against the other, being the shadow subconscious body self wanting to eliminate the anxiety, and the consciousness wanting to make logic out of it, and thereby basically emasculating or making the experience infertile by a blanket of security, a blanket of mind, of logic, which is nowhere near the feeling and becomes another defense mechanism. This is part of what causes the looping mind syndrome. So yeah, I grew up basically immune, well, not immune, but I was trauma naive to any type of dissent or bullying or mainly jealousy and envy. I was totally blind to, and I think deep down in my subconscious I didn't expect the truth from anyone anymore. So to confront was to create another situation that causes the cortisol adrenaline loop, which starts the mind loop again, or to dissociate and suppress any feelings of intrusion or unsolicited advice or subjugation in some other form entering my body. Though it did enter, and every time it did enter, it's just the mind believing it's regulating experience by total control. And this is where the mind comes in, and this is where the ego comes in, is that it's all basically a control base to prevent the overflow of feeling, which the ego would believe is a threat. Now, on the other side of this, the ego is very, very threatened by the possibility of it being wrong. So there's a real paradox in that one, and one finds oneself very much stuck in polarity around upsetting the ego and processing the feeling. There's a war that goes on that starts on the outside through abuse. As the situation can't be externalized alone due to the boundary incursions, the body will accept the poison and then continue the process itself by repetition of experience alone. It is a dysregulation and an unnatural homeostasis of the organism to try and maintain health in what is essentially an untenable environment.